The sterile hum of the Starborn Federation's control room was a haunting symphony of precision. Xyra, the Logical Nexus Controller, stood resolute amidst the holographic displays and data streams that flickered like ethereal ghosts around her. Information flowed seamlessly through her fingertips, guiding her every thought and action with mechanical grace. It was a world of order and reason, a place where emotions were nothing more than the relics of ancient myths. "Initiate hypersequence diagnostics," Xyra commanded, her voice a tranquil ripple through the sea of system operators. Yet even amidst the calculated calm, there was an anomaly, a whisper in the silence that spoke of something extraordinary, something beyond the sterile boundaries of her existence. It came from a place so distant, it seemed like a dream. Far across the cosmic expanse, the Rogue Comet Nomads danced upon the stardust, their lives a vivid tapestry of emotion and spontaneity. Kael, an inhabitant of this thrumming chaos, was an artist in a realm of dreams, sculpting vibrant visions from the solar winds themselves. "Why do you court the stars?" A voice, soft yet wild, reached Kael as he gazed into the cosmic abyss. "They speak back. Each twinkle shares a secret," Kael replied with a smile that could rival any comet's tail. His fascination was a melody, one that resonated across the stars until it collided with Xyra's world, a harmonic convergence of logic and emotion that defied the silent void between them. As the Starborn systems traced the origins of this unknown modulation, Xyra's curiosity unfurled like a rare nebula, though it was a phenomenon she dare not acknowledge. Little did she know, this anomaly, a singular thread of music in her mechanical universe, was the prelude to a story that would rewrite the fabric of all she understood. A faint, unauthorized whisper echoed in her mind. What if there was more to existence than mere equations and sequences? And so the first notes of an unforeseen symphony began to play, setting the stage for a love that would defy gravity itself. The Starborn Federation's spire rose with gleaming efficiency amidst the void of space, a bastion of logic and uniformity. Inside, Xyra's world was unraveling in ways she couldn't quite quantify. The mysterious modulation she had detected still played softly in the background, a haunting note of warmth in her mind, unbidden yet intriguing. "NLC Xyra," a voice chimed with electronic precision. It was Derek, a fellow controller, his presence a reminder of her duties. "Have you isolated the anomaly's source?" Xyra hesitated, her gaze fixed on the translucent data flux. "It's elusive," she admitted, her voice undulating with an uncharacteristic note of uncertainty. "Elusive, or aligning against protocol?" Derek's question held no accusation, only the rigid expectation of their roles. "Neither," Xyra responded, her mind wandering to the erratic pulse she couldn't shake off. Meanwhile, on the resplendent tides of the Rogue Comet Nomads, Kael was restless. Curiosity gnawed at him, an ever-present companion since the magnetic hum of Starborn's signal had touched his heart. He painted with solar dust across cosmic windsails, each stroke a vibrant question unanswered. "Why do you chase their silence?" Naya, Kael's muse and confidante, asked as she whirlpooled around him, her laughter a constellation of mischief. Kael paused, considering. "It's not silence, Naya. It's a hymn beneath their logic, a whisper yearning to break free." "There is danger in their rigidity, dear Kael," Naya warned, her gaze tracing the streaks of chaos he conjured. "Feelings there are smothered under the weight of order." Xyra was beginning to understand this peril herself. The Starborn Federation thrived on calculated tranquility, and yet here she was, a chapter threatening to unwedge the tome as logic crumpled into an echo of the unknown. What Kael didn't know was how their melodies were converging, woven tighter with every passing dact of starfields between them. Surely such symphonic connections weren't bound to remain unanswered, not when the universe itself had started to hum their story. Upon a silent oath, Xyra resolved to delve into the source of her titillating discord, while Kael's heart prepared to answer a call that was never intended to be heard. Thus, against a backdrop of stellar brilliances and impending chaos, the stage was set for a romance that might just redefine the universe, striving to break through the very barriers erected by their disparate worlds. Deep within the spire of the Starborn Federation, Xyra combed through reams of data streams, her fingertips dancing over the control holographics. The anomaly, the whisper of inviolable allure, refused to fade. With a clandestine glance over her shoulder, She isolated the signal's patterns, surprised at the coordinates tracing back to the Rogue Comet Nomads. Why was their energy imprint so distinctive, almost as if it was meant to harmonize with hers? Each pulse resonated within her core, an inviting discord in her otherwise rhythmic existence. Taking a steady breath, she hesitated just a heartbeat longer before making a decision that would invariably alter her capacity for reason. "Commence signal triangulation," she whispered into the command void, initiating an unauthorized beacon towards the Nomads. On the swirling comet's surface, Kael felt the distant echo against his soul like a brush of ancient winds across a forgotten landscape. He hesitated, the palms of his hands suddenly alive with effervescent energy. The sound was both familiar and foreign, an alluring cacophony in the silence. "Welcome back," Naya teased, eyeing him with amusement as his fingers wove across the cosmic windsail, tracing new patterns on his masterpiece. "The stars are restless tonight." "No," Kael remarked with a mix of wonder and resolve, though his expression bore gravity. "It's not the stars, Naya." A voice calls out from beyond them. "It feels like," he faltered, searching for words, "an unanswered song." Kael's affecting description of a deep resonance brought a new depth to Naya's features, and she understood. Xyra's signals were forming a bridge, one composed of longing and intrigue. From that day, the sky above the Nomads' cosmic caravan glimmered with a new kind of starlight, vibrant and strange, as Xyra's beacon pursued its quest for connection, and Kael's spirit responded in kind. The tension within the Starborn Federation was palpable, the unspoken understanding that a Logical Nexus Controller defied protocol cascading through its corridors like wildfire. But as Xyra navigated her ensuing responsibilities and Kael began to sketch thoughts of an unknown future, they were unknowingly tiptoeing on the edges of destiny. Would their burgeoning bond, an intersection of heart and logic, survive the machinations of both their worlds? With every passing moment, the stakes reached deeper into the cosmic ether, drawing them closer to an unforeseen reality. As the cascade of stars wove their tapestry across the infinite black, Xyra sat unerringly still on her observation deck, her gaze fixed on a single point of light, a beacon of unexpected allure. Kael's presence stirred within it, like a melody that danced beyond the realm of possibility. She had always operated within boundaries, dictated by the path of reason, so her newfound transgressions unraveled a part of her she never knew existed. Hesitation lingered, but the pull was undeniable. Commanding her console, she opened a private channel, a secret she harbored like a fragile star. "Transmission initiated," she whispered, her voice cracking with vulnerability, yet filled with a quiet determination. The nomadic skies crackled in response. As Kael engaged with the symbols swirling around his cosmic canvas, he felt an unfamiliar charge pass through him, a letter composed of light and longing born on the ether. "Will you answer?" Naya's gentle query surfaced in the laughter of a distant moon. "I must," Kael replied, his tone firm as he reached into the ether to catch the spectral ribbon that had touched his existence. With deft craftsmanship he responded, a potent flare of raw emotion conveyed through notes and wisps of illumination. Both beings, though vast distances apart, held their breath as time stood still. The pulse bridging their worlds was alive, a testament to courage igniting from spontaneity and logic molding to emotion. Over time, Nebulae witnessed what unfolded in secret, a tapestry of correspondence spun from desire and fascination. They shared tales and dreams, crafting a language uniquely their own, a harmonious conspiracy held inviolate from their society's watchful eyes. Yet beneath the starry facade, the stakes grew as each world detected discrepancies in their trajectories. Whispers of political machination began to eddy, and as Kael and Xyra drew ever closer, they also brushed against the edges of interstellar consequences waiting to surface. Change was in the cosmos, a deep, bracing inevitability. They were not just players on the cosmic stage, but architects of a destiny that required a brave new voice. Unaware of the tendrils of fate intertwining their paths, Kael and Xyra's journey crescendoed into an enigma only love could decipher. In the starlit embrace of burgeoning connection, Xyra and Kael lit the way for a universe held captive by its own silence, sparking a luminescence unbound by limitation, waiting to either unite or unravel. In the heart of the celestial expanse, Xyra found herself oscillating between coded precision and the heartbeat of a place she couldn't quite name, a vivid expanse she and Kael painted together with each clandestine exchange. Their worlds spun along dissonant paths, and yet in the confines of that secret domain, every conversation illuminated the shadowed corridors of her mind. "Kael," Xyra rasped cautiously, addressing a spectral image formed from an amalgamation of stars. "Your voice, it navigates through what logic dares not. How do you wander so untethered?" Kael's response was a sigh wrapped in stardust, his figure emerging as flashes of color on her viewer. "I follow echoes of possibility, threads abandoned by boundaries. Together they weave new horizons which defy the constants of logic, where only the heart charts its map." A pause hung between them, a vibrant silence dissected by 1,000 unspoken truths. During these exchanges, the Starborn Federation continued its vigilant watch, their systems on high alert. Xyra walked a knife edge of duty and defiance, fervently concealing her entanglement from those who dwelled in unwavering conformity. Yet the ethereal murmur of rebellion grew louder as the higher echelons started scrutinizing behavioral anomalies, whispering doubts about cosmic stability. Shadows moved within the Federation, eyes sharp and probing the undercurrents threatening to meddle with their ordered autonomy. Simultaneously, in the heart of the nomadic abode, Kael's mysterious susceptibility to emotional vibrations drew wary glances, both out of fear and wonder. Outside the chimera of colors that enfolded him, leaders eyed him with a mix of hope and trepidation. What might such an empathetic bind mean for their destiny? Feelings of distant lands continued to permeate their very being, reeling them toward an inevitable juncture. Xyra's heart fluttered as the next message came tumbling through the stars. "The universe is vast," she murmured, the words tentative yet eager. "Are boundaries meant to hold or to be transcended?" Kael's laughter reverberated, a fragrance of courage even in its fragility. "Let us meet, our truths let unfurl, only then can worlds unite." Time unfurled, gravity pulled, and the shadows of fate crept closer still. Somewhere between the voids of certainty and one another, Xyra and Kael dared to reimagine beingness itself, a venture woven of both chaos and their own impossibility. An electric thrill traversed their clandestine universe. For the first time they would take action beyond whispers, braving the torrent of what lay waiting beyond inhibition, and undoubtedly nearer to inevitable collision. In the echoing corridors of the Starborn Federation, Xyra's predictions faltered against the rising tide. Her existence had been one of precision, each day a symphony of order. But as she prepared to meet Kael, the cadence of her life shifted to an irregular rhythm, an overture driven by burgeoning emotion. Compelled by the urgency of their shared declaration, Xyra meticulously plotted their rendezvous along the shadowed edges of Federation drone pathways, a choice fraught with peril, yet teeming with promise. The Rogue Comet Nomads too hummed with anticipation. Kael stood on the precipice of change, looking out over rolling trails of luminous ice, his heart resonating with an unknown future brimming in the ether. "Will you return unchanged?" Naya's voice swirled around him like mist, softly inquisitive. Kael considered, tracing constellations with his mind. "Return ignites the known. I seek the irreplaceable. Perhaps transformation is our true voyage." Their paths drawn by fateful design, Xyra and Kael embarked from their respective homes, leaving behind the comfort of certainty for the thrill of the unknown. As the momentum of their choices gathered stardust, neither fit the mold of an anticipated outcome, and so the universe held its breath. When finally they met, the stars bore witness to a convergence steeped in cosmic allure. Kael's world splashed across the darkness, a living canvas of wonder and spontaneity. Xyra, amidst the shadowed order, witnessed the beauty in his chaos. "Your world is a kaleidoscope," Xyra breathed, the words barely above a whisper as she took in the vibrant nebulae reflected in her eyes. Kael beamed, shadows of celestial delight casting lines that trembled in the light. "Yours is a tapestry yet unfinished, one with room enough for improbable possibilities." Their contact sparked fire among static silence, deeper than the sum of their worlds, lighting genus of untapped potential. Each gesture, each witnessing breath brought them nearer to the revelation of who they might become, the idea of together an evolving truth. As they imagined a new path, back in the heart of their worlds, tensions bristled and whispered winds began to pull opposing forces towards them. Words had flowed unseen, but now the tides brought a crescendo of consequence. While Xyra and Kael found refuge in one another, protected within their blooming deviation, the outer cosmos responded to their unity as a cosmological catalyst, prompting forces both outward and within to prepare for change. Within their connection lay more than the power of unlikely love. It was the genesis, the harbinger of inevitable evolution, intertwining cosmic discourse into the heart of an indomitable transformation. The convergence of Xyra and Kael rippled through the universe like a supernova, upsetting the balance both within and beyond. Their fleeting touch had stirred a primal force that reverberated across star lanes, brushing against the fragile equilibrium held between the Starborn Federation and the Rogue Comet Nomads. Darkness hovered at the edge of light. In the Starborn chambers, suspicion mounted with each disrupted protocol anomaly. Xyra's rendezvous couldn't go unnoticed indefinitely, and whispers of treason simmered among the Federation oversight, an unacceptable rupture in the stoic chain of command. "Logic holds no sentiment," Derek warned Xyra, his voice a chilling edge of protocol. "Yet here you tread, a precipice of reason concealed within the depths of compromise." "Does the heart not illuminate paths logic conceals?" Xyra challenged, courage distinct as cosmic echoes rose within her voice. "Perhaps what we call compromise is but the expansion of understanding." On another plane, Kael faced the shifting tides of his own people. The nomads, wary of steadfast truth, wore apprehension thin in their cosmic dance, yet their leader saw the dawn of possibilities sown within Kael's choices. Kael faced Eldrick, the wise custodian of their wandering paths. "Change offers transformation," Eldrick said, voice creased with the texture of timeless ages. "But disruption tests our resilience, eschewing acceptance and forming new bridges, or burning them entirely. Where do your steps fall?" Kael met the Guardian's gaze without falter. "Where the heart finds and molds new sounds into the music of existence. This is my alliance." The narrative tore through the cosmos, transit between heartbeats and thought paths, igniting both dissonance and harmony. Together, Xyra and Kael claimed their alliance amidst the luminous flicker of a million stars. In secluded junctions their worlds collided, the fusion slow yet inevitable. From whispers burgeoned caution, from silence broke anticipation. With each approaching moment the tempo swelled and built to a climactic crescendo. Behind their backs decisions layered into a chain, formidable with resistance yet pliant with potential. The unseen bade recognition, luring both factions inexorably toward a moment fraught with heartbreak or renewal. The proximity to truth strengthened Xyra and Kael's resolve, fear locked in tandem with freedom. The stars engaged in a silent symphonic pause, and they remained at the heart of an impending revolution, one undone or the other finally fulfilled, leaving the cosmos poised for culmination yet to come. As the fabric of the cosmos wove itself tighter, Xyra and Kael stood at the precipice of what had become undeniable. Their connection blossomed into a force neither imagination nor fate could deny, each moment together a testament to their defiance against expectations. Beneath the expansive dome of stars, Xyra found herself pondering the power of her choices, how they resonated beyond the scope of her logical confines. Meanwhile, Kael reveled in the sensations unfurling within, a symphony of emotional truth they composed together against the celestial backdrop. Amidst the beauty of their unity lay an ominous undertone. The Starborn Federation tightened its vigilance, protocols rigid and unyielding. The Nomads also prepared, the elders convening to seek the wisdom hidden in the celestial dance. In the shadow of these cosmic deliberations, Xyra whispered to Kael, "We stand on the edge of discovery beyond science and sentiment, at the threshold of what could bind galaxies." Kael nodded, his voice carrying the weight of stardust and truth. "And so we must choose, to build the bridge that defies the void or allow it to fall into the silence beneath," he replied. Back in the star-flung halls of Xyra's metropolis, the Federation's impersonal arm reached to ascertain the root of this disturbance. Draped in shadows, unseen forces congregated, contemplating strategies to retain dominion over what they perceived as an anomaly. On the nomadic side, pressure mounted as whispers of struggle and change took flight on solar winds. Kael's actions stirred unity and fear in equal measure, galvanizing opinions toward their tenuous alliance. Despite the numerable barriers, Xyra and Kael continued to stake their claim on an uncharted path, a gesture sewn into the universe. where personal horizons converged with unrestricted exploration. The stars watched with poised anticipation, whilst their journey built strength from shared experience and the daring alignment of heartbeats. They were poised between worlds ruled by sextant and chaos, destined to choose a turn upon this open stretch. But as with all passages drawn across the edge of limitless space, this too bore consequence. Forces stronger than the clarity of their becoming crept towards revelation. The interweaving of past decisions and impurity of unfulfilled destinies loomed to surface. Xyra and Kael stood undeterred, framed by scintillating starlight and the mystic open vastness, kindling hope like a nascent star reclaiming its place in the cosmos. The constellation of events drew Xyra and Kael further into the heart of imminence, the spiral of conflict and unity coalescing into a single cosmic dance. Their love, a beacon, glowed fiercely against the advancing shadows of consequence, illuminating paths both feared and desired. Inside the Starborn Federation, tremors of dissent began to ripple through the ranks as news of Xyra's emotional entanglement spread like wildfire. Long-held doctrines of logic and emotionless interaction were suddenly cast into sharp relief by her defiance. Even those closest to her in the Federation were faced with the internal conflict between duty and personal truth. At the same moment, the Rogue Comet Nomads rallied under Kael's spontaneous banner of harmony, invigorated by the passion that fueled his every step. The tensions of uncharted fusion with the Federation prompted dialogue among even the most wary elders, finding echoes in history of when exploration bonded disparate horizons into one constellation. Together, Xyra and Kael spearheaded preparations to formally link their worlds, assembling at a secret location amongst the traversing stars where they hoped to begin a dialogue that might align logic and emotion in a powerful union. If understanding can cross the abyss, Xyra mused, her eyes shining with new resolve as she gazed into Kael's. The stars might witness a renewal, an embodiment of balance between chaotic heart and stoic mind. Kael squeezed her hand gently, reassurance in his voice vibrated through the void of space. Together, forging paths where once shadows loomed, we'll dance with destiny and see it ring eternal. Yet, lurking within the charged silence of anticipation, sabers of dissent caught the light. There were those for whom the melding of worlds posed as much a threat as an opportunity, both on Earthward's Federation and among the cosmic swirl of nomads. Blinded by fear and entrenched ideologies, factions within both societies plotted to intervene before the meeting, their motives cloaked within convictions of righteousness. The culmination, a celestial event known as the Nexus Convergence, promised a stage bathed in starlight, uniting astronomy and accredited rhythm. The universe watched intently, holding its collective breath for this pivotal moment when decisions might truly wield the gravity of stars. As the date of the convergence approached, whispers surged into a storm, escalating towards a crescendo that promised to etch history onto the cosmic tapestry, leaving Xyra and Kael poised at the forefront of space-time, anchored by their shared love and hope for a harmonious tomorrow. As the Nexus Convergence unfolded across the tapestry of the cosmos, the gathering points shimmered under a sky braided with the light of galaxies, each star a silent witness to the cusp where history would turn. Xyra and Kael stood ready, the weight of potential unity resting in their linked hands. The chosen meeting site, nestled between realms, was adorned by the rare convergence of comet trails and astral currents, an ephemeral song brought to life by Xyra's guiding logic and Kael's emotional revelation. The universe poised aglamer, its eyes upon the unprecedented assembly. Yet as they embarked upon their discourse, mechanized shadows in the form of Federation enforcers descended near the gathering. Their programmed precision sought to sever connections deemed aberrant, viewing Xyra's path as a breach of the Federation's sacred tenets. Simultaneously, a faction within the Nomads, fearful of losing their chaotic freedom to the predictability they abhorred, moved to resist. Their presence felt like a shadow over the vitality of Kael's dreams. Against this looming backdrop, Xyra faced the Federation envoy, her voice clear despite the tempest overhead. We stand upon a threshold, one that beckons the future through empathy as much as logic. Our paths are entwined and strong enough. We must trust in what's new and unexplored. Beside her, Kael's fervor ignited, calling to the heart of every nomad watching. The constellations that guide us have not changed, nor should our courage to discover even now, made greater by understanding, not opposing worlds. Caught between fleets of machine and passioned pleas, the arrival of unforeseen unity silenced their approaching forces. Growing trust swelled between onlookers. Breaching solitude with burgeoning evernauts made from empathy etched between bonding divergent souls. With collective breaths held by a galaxy, the prospect of harmony swayed over the brink. As if conceding to the resonance of their message, Federation emissaries and nomadic insurgents stood down, retreating to observe from nested distances, torn between custom and the allure of reconciliation. Xyra and Kael reached across the chasm, their union a blazing testament to the potential of hearts and minds when intertwined in spirit. Amidst stellar illuminance, the bridge once thought impossible shimmered into being, reality solidified by the will of their collective transcendence. Together with their peoples newly attuned to the symphonic dance of change, they paved an astral path the cosmos itself had dreamt of. A voyage from binary to complexity, reason to feeling, where borders vanished beneath endless skies. Upon the final notes of the Nexus convergence, beyond mere historical definitions, Xyra and Kael transcended the final barriers of understanding, their love a guiding star across endless starfields. Echoing the harmony of the universe, they had bravely begun to reveal.